know what Nazis are about, you better know something about Richard Wagner and his music and his operas. I continue. We had some technical trouble, so I have to start. I started a new video, but don't worry. The other one will be part 1, and this one will be part 2. Golden Dawn in Berlin. After the Golden Dawn was organized in 1887, on the racist doctrine espoused by Bulwer Lytton Sr., the order had established lodges by the turn of the century in several leading European cities, including Berlin, which would soon boast a large, ornate Golden Dawn temple. Before and during World War I, the Berlin Golden Dawn had spawned 2 other secret societies. One, in 1902, the Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, which was later controlled by 33-degree English Mason Aleister Crowley. Mr. Crowley! That piece of shit. And 2, in 1918, the Thule or Thule Society, which discovered and groomed Hitler. The Thule Society's doctrine was identical to that contained in Lytton's Vril, the power of the coming race. Blavatsky's doctrines of Theosophy became the satanic Bible of the Thule. And I'm just going to add this on to it. In the prequel to the movie The Thing, I'm talking about the one from 2011, the Norwegian camp, I thought they were Swedes or Norwegians. I don't know which they are. But funny, right? Funny little fact. The camp, there's a sign that says Thule or Thule. Rewatch the movie. Look for it. Let's see. Wolf Schwarzwaller in The Unknown Hitler, 1990, confirms that English Masonry indirectly influenced Hitler through its Masonic and sub-Masonic societies. Regarding the Thule Society, he notes, cross-links to the English Brotherhood of the Golden Dawn, to the Theosophists of Madame Blavatsky, and to the notorious magician and adventurer Aleister Crowley, who was head of the Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO. These 3 mystic societies, the Golden Dawn, OTO, and Thule Society, like fly traps, lured, caught, polished, and then elevated Adolf Hitler once in power. The Führer, and I know a lot of people like to say that translates to leader. It also can translate to guide. The Führer came completely under their spell. Crowley had much in common with Hitler. First, both drew inspiration from Bulwer Lytton's occult novels. Crowley claimed they contained secrets for higher initiates of magic. Second, Crowley's Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, and Hitler's Thule Society were both creations of English Freemasonry and identical in their homicidal orientation. When Hitler began gaining power, Crowley and the Russian occultist G.I. Gurdjieff, 1870s through 1949, the same Gurdjieff who initiated Joseph Stalin into Martinist Freemasonry, sought contact with Hitler. Gurdjieff succeeded. Another English Mason who certainly had indirect and possibly direct contact with Hitler was 33-degree discount Horatio H. Kitchener, 1850 through 1916. Mackey's Encyclopedia of Freemasonry states that Lord Kitchener, Lord Vader, anyone? Was accomplished in Oriental languages, enabling him to advance Freemasonry in the Orient. In a famous English soldier serving 7 years, as a famous English soldier serving 7 years in India, he was responsible for founding 3 lodges there, becoming Grand Master at Punjab. While in Egypt, he was Grand Master of both Egypt and Sudan. He also visited Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. Just in case you thought there was no masonry in your neck of the woods and you live in one of those areas. Guess what? Surprise, surprise. They're there too. Oh boy. During his sojourn in India, Kitchener made many trips to Tibet, where he was introduced to the German general Karl Ernst Haushofer. Haushofer, himself a Freemason and member of the Berlin Golden Dawn, had before World War I spent many years as military attaché in Japan and traveled extensively in Asia. Kitchener and the Russian occultist G.I. Gurdjieff, also an expert on Tibetan mysticism, initiated Haushofer into the secret cult of the Tibetan Lamas, who claimed to possess the secret of the Superman, and introduced him to the meaning of the swastika. Originally, the swastika was a symbol of the sun god in India. In Sanskrit, it means all is all. In Hinduism, the swastika is both right-handed and left-handed. The right-handed swastika, rotating clockwise, symbolizes light, white magic, creative force. Rotating counterclockwise, it means darkness, black magic, and destruction. Negativity, but it also, negativity, symbolically was the feminine. Remember what I said in the previous video. When they talk about negative and positive, the positive is always the male, and the negative is always the female. In 1919, Haushofer joined the Thule Society and introduced its membership to the meaning of the swastika, which became the Thule Society's coat of arms. Thus, from Haushofer, Kipling, Blavatsky, and others, the swastika found its way into the German cults that would later form the core of Nazism. And that's why Hitler, and I quote again, said that if you only see National Socialism as a political movement, you don't know anything about National Socialism. In other words, it's also a religion. In 1919, Haushofer became university professor and director of the Munich Institute of Geopolitics. That position destined him to school Hitler in geopolitics and assist the Führer in writing Mein Kampf, my fight, my struggle, also my war. Later, as a prominent figure in the Nazi Party, Haushofer would send the corps of the SS to Tibet for initiation. Before they returned, he established for them the Vril Society, which in turn would compose the inner core of the Nazi Party. The notion for the Vril, of course, was derived from Bulwer Lytton's 1871 novel, Vril, The Power of the Coming Race. I wonder why, Spielberg, you know what Spielberg means, don't you? You know the meaning behind the name Spielberg? Storyteller. That's what it means. That's literally what the sons of bitch's name means. Storyteller. That's right, I hate you, you fucking fake Jew. That's right. That's right. still using Puerto Ricans in your remake of West Side Story. I will always talk shit about you, crypto fake Jew. You believe that son of a bitch remade West Side Story and still use Puerto Ricans as the villains? Fuck you, fake Jew. But I digress. Haushofer's Vril Society rituals were imported from Rosicrucian English Freemasonry, including the Luciferian doctrine of Blavatsky's Theosophy Society. Only a slight twist was needed to accommodate the notion of a Superman race. And the reason I got into that tirade about Spielberg was, isn't it funny, he doesn't mention any of this shit in his so-called Indiana Jones films. Alfred Rosenberg, you heard this correctly, 1893 through 1946. Oh, he lived a year after the war. Ain't that good for him? Who will be discussed at length later in this chapter, was the member of the Thule Society who introduced the protocols of Sion, not Zion, Sion with an S, to the West. He was also the creator of the religious ceremonies for the Vril. Rosenberg had to be cautious in his approach, since the overwhelming majority of the Aryan German race adhered to the Christian faith. Christians were already anti-Masonic, especially Catholic Christians, and their cooperation was needed for Hitler's coming destruction of the so-called Judeo-Masonic conspiracy. And you still believe that these groups aren't at war with each other? Oh boy. To avoid a direct assault on Christianity, Rosenberg promoted Gnostic distortions of Christianity for initiates to the Vril. In this scheme, Lucifer and Christ became the same personality. Who else says that Lucifer and Jesus are brothers? The Mormons. Lucifer Christ then was a prophet for the master race, which meant, of course, that Christ must belong to the Aryan race. Now, with that said, I can explain a little further the meaning of the Holy Grail. The blood inside the cup of Christ is Jesus' blood, isn't it? But they also taught that Jesus was an Aryan. Understand now why the blood is important? Why it gave back life to King Arthur? Rejuvenated him? He drank of the blood of Jesus, the Aryan God? I'm not saying this is true. This is what they believe. The cup also has another symbol. It represents the womb of the woman. Oh boy. Where did we left off? Racial inferiority was assigned to the Jews, and the rationalists were members of continental Freemasonry. Membership in Haushofer's Vril Society was limited to the SS and the hierarchy of the Nazi Party. Himmler, Göring, Alfred Rosenberg, and the Führer himself, along with his personal physician, Dr. Morell, these men were deeply involved in the same Luciferian doctrine that we've been talking about as English Freemasonry. Though slightly twisted for their own needs, they also practiced witchcraft with a vengeance. It was no surprise that Haushofer's Berlin-based Vril Society, through the Golden Dawn of Berlin, had links with Golden Dawn devotees in Great Britain. Until 1941, members of the Vril Thule and Berlin Golden Dawn were in continual communication with the London Golden Dawn. Communication was broken off in May 1941 when Rudolf Hess, also a member of the Berlin Golden Dawn and the closest man to Hitler, made his famous abortive peace mission to England. Before Hess's flight, Haushofer and his son Albrecht gave Hess the names and addresses of Golden Dawn contacts in Great Britain, as well as names of other prominent English Masons who favored peace between England and Germany. Another important intellectual influence on Hitler was the writings of 33-degree Mason Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche. There's fucking Nietzsche, the guy who coined the term Superman. 1844 through 1900. In fact, the name Nazi is a derivative of Nietzsche. That Hitler's last birthday gift to Mussolini in 1943 was the collected works of Nietzsche testifies to the enduring influence of this philosopher upon Hitler. Edith Miller lists Nietzsche, along with Wagner, as an OTO member before it was officially registered in 1902. Helga Zepp, in the Hitler book, confirms the influence Nietzsche had on the Nazi movement. Everything the Nazis later made into reality was already lurking within Nietzsche's tormented brain, darting about with increasing frenzy. The idea of a master race, chosen people, the mystically inspired hatred of Christianity, and its final and ultimate form, I'm going to try to say this, the esse homo, where Nietzsche cries out, "Have I made myself clear?" Dionysus against the crucified. It could be Ecce. It's spelled E-C-C-E. So sorry if I mispronounced it. Nietzsche was an aggressive spokesman for English Freemasonry, although he realized that war between England and Germany was inevitable, and that when it started it would cause the greatest bloodbath known to history. For that time, the one coming is going to be worse. In Will to Power, he wrote, "Our entire European culture has long been moving with agonizing tension, increasing from decade to decade, and is now tumbling loosely, restlessly, violently into catastrophe. Like a river which wants to reach its end, which no longer thinks, which is afraid to think." Nietzsche, while under the influence of narcotics, is also quoted as saying, "While millions fall trembling in the dust, we are close to the Dionysian." Dionysus was the Greek god of drunkenness and orgiastic revelry. For Nietzsche, the Dionysian meant creativity, powers of imagination versus rationalism. Hitler, also a drug addict, brought about the fulfillment of Nietzsche's prophecy. All right. Let me see what happens if I try to play some music now. So this might be 3 videos. Let's see if it turns off again. Oh boy. I don't know what's going to happen, y'all. Thule Society's Holy Grail Myth. While members of the Golden Dawn were organizing the Thule Society, Quatuor Coronati, Lodge of Masonic Research in London, concocted the Thule myth from the legend of the mythical Atlantis and based it upon Holy Grail mysticism. According to authors of the Thule myth, the word Thule signifies a prehistoric golden age of Aryans in northern Europe who ended in sudden catastrophe. In this myth, the Aryans were in possession of the Holy Grail, but after their demise, the Grail was lost. So seriously did the Nazis embrace this legend of Aryan supremacy that Hitler's SS experts in Aryan esoterica actually conducted a search for the Grail in southern France. See, they just like a lot of you, only know the exoteric. They actually thought that the Grail was a physical cup, a real cup. No, it isn't. No, it wasn't. The esoteric, it's a symbol. It represents something, as I previously just told you. With the support of Heinrich Himmler, Zepp explains how the Nazis interpreted the legend. The Thule Society and the Nazis took up this myth of the Grail and interpreted it so that the Grail was understood as an inscribed stone or tablet. This tablet was a crucial document of Aryan Gnosticism. There you go again with the Gnosticism. Gnosticism. What is Gnosticism? Knowledge. Preserved and passed on from Aryan prehistory. According to the myth of the Grail, the tablet was finally hidden in a Grail fortress in southern France. According to the Nazi lore, it originally came from Aryan Persian, modern Iran. And if you don't think Iran is going to be a major part in the upcoming war, you better get ready. Then reached Jerusalem and was brought to Rome after Jerusalem was destroyed. From Rome, it found its way to southern France. Thule Society, its founder and membership. Because the Thule Society's doctrine was similar to that of the Merovingian Grail Kings, it was no surprise to learn that its constituents were aristocrats. Membership consisted of lawyers, judges, university professors, police officials, and you wonder why, when a fellow officer gets in trouble for something, the officers that arrest him are so nice, are so good to him, even though he committed a crime that me and you would be treated like shit for. If they commit the same damn crime, they handle them with gentleness, because they're fellow brothers, don't you know? The Fraternal Order of Police. Oh boy. Aristocratic members of royalty, leading industrialists, surgeons, physicians, scientists, as well as rich businessmen, like the proprietor of the elegant Four Seasons Hotel in Munich, in which the society was headquartered. These headquarters became the command center for the counter-revolutionary underground of European royalty at a time when Grand Orient communist revolutions were sweeping post-World War I Europe. Thule Society letterheads and literature displayed the swastika, and large swastika flags decorated its plush meeting rooms and offices. Way before Hitler, way before the Nazis, they were using the swastika. Although the Thule Society was an offshoot of the Golden Dawn, its official founder and head was Baron Rudolf von Sebottendorf, 1875 through 1945, a knight of the Masonic Order of Constantine, Turkish Masonry. Sir Bottendorf, and get ready for this. Oh shit! Get ready for this. Are you ready? Oh boy. Sebottendorf, a Muslim convert, a Muslim convert, a Muslim convert. Why do I emphasize it? Because as just like Judaism and Christianity, there are people perpetrating a fraud, saying that they're Muslim, and in reality, they're not. They're members of these secret societies. Was leader of the Turkish Crescent, which fought in the Balkan War of 1912 through 1913 against the Grand Orient revolutionists backed by Serbia. In the ranks of the revolutionists were Jews. Consequently, during that conflict, Sir Bertendorf became violently anti-Semitic. In 1913, he returned to Germany fortified with vast knowledge of the occult and substantial funds from an unknown source. It's always that way. Somehow they get the money. Somewhere these guys get the money. But we're all supposed to believe it's mysterious. Oh, they worked hard. They were masters of their own life. They picked themselves off their bootstraps. They're self-made men. Bullshit! During the next 4 years, he made extensive contacts with leading members of numerous international occult groups that were rapidly proliferating in Germany at that time. Focusing his contacts on the Order of the Golden Dawn. Focusing, I don't know what that means. I would assume disturbing or distracting or, interfering. Late in 1917, Sebottendorf was in Munich to begin organizing the Thule Society. With assistance from Golden Dawn members, the Thule Society was officially founded on August 17, 1918. So Bottendorf elevated himself to Grand Master, then recruited from among German noble families and aristocracy to use the society as their counter-revolutionary headquarters. And do you remember in the G.I. Joe movie? Remember the animated 1987 G.I. Joe movie? Where Cobra Commander came from a noble race? The ruler of the kingdom of Shangri-La, they called it Cobra-La. All of it Blavatsky. That's the things Blavatsky taught. Those were the things they believed. It's hidden in plain sight in your face. They called Cobra Commander a nobleman. You better wake up and smell the crack. Oh boy. To his later discredit and ultimate downfall, Sebottendorf published a list of the Thule Society's membership. Sebottendorf claimed he had been sent to Germany by the Ascended Masters of Islam. Oh shit! Oh, shit. Let me repeat that again. Sebottendorf claimed he had been sent to Germany by the ascended masters of Islam, who had entrusted him with the mission of illuminating Germany through the revelation of the secrets of advanced magic and initiation into ancient Oriental mysteries. One of the mysteries Sebottendorf imparted to the Thule membership was the so-called revelation that the Jews were behind world revolution and therefore must be annihilated. Annihilated. I always had trouble saying that word, but you know what I'm trying to say. Exterminated. All right, let me see how much more I want to do. Oh my God. These pages are very, very thin, y'all. I guess so they could fit as much as they could in the book, in the first volume. All right, I'll read a little bit more. Anti-Semitism and the Thule Society. Another Thule Society member who added strength to Sebottendorf's anti-Semitic accusations was Alfred Rosenberg. Rosenberg? 1893 through 1946. Rosenberg grew up as a Baltic German in Revel, Estonia, and spoke perfect German and Russian. He studied architecture at Moscow University and graduated there in 1917. He witnessed Kerensky's revolution in February and saw it destroyed in October by Lenin, a half-Jew. And for those of you who've been watching me know that that's fake Jew. And Trotsky, a full-blooded Jew, fake Jew. In the spring of 1918, he read the newspaper headlines which announced the assassination of the Tsar and his royal household at the hands of a Jew. Then he watched as 82% of the new communist bureaucracy was staffed by Jews. Fake Jews. In October 1918, Rosenberg arrived in Munich. To his dismay, he discovered that German communists were mostly Jews. No matter. In his baggage, he carried a copy of the most damning evidence against them. Upon joining the Thule Society, he presented the protocols of the learned elders of Sion, with an S, not a Z, to its membership. Thule Society membership was so pro-aristocratic, oligarchic, and monarchical, driven by fear of the communists, the Thules declared political aim was twofold. One, the extirpation of what the membership called the Communist Judeo-Masonic Conspiracy. Two, the return of the Hohenzollerns to the German throne. Hence, the membership was willing to embrace a dictator for a while at least. Are you listening? They appoint these people, they give them positions of power, but it's not supposed to last forever. And these fools don't know it. And when they realize it and try to fight against it, it's too late. Who would lead Germany out of the clutches of communism and return her to her original dynastic glory. At the beginning of November 1918, German Grand Orient communists took over the government in Munich. Shortly thereafter, on November 9, Sebottendorf spoke before a meeting of the entire membership of the Thule Society to issue a call to arms against Judah. He ended his speech with the declaration, "Remember that you are Germans. Keep your blood pure." This admonition became the motto of the Thule Society, which thereafter publicly espoused German racial superiority, anti-Semitism, and anti-communism. Oh boy. Rosenberg with Dietrich Eckart, another top officer of the Thule, were the first to publish the protocols outside of Russia. Eckart was both a Freemason and a Rosicrucian, and possibly a member of the Golden Dawn. He broke from Freemasonry because he could not embrace its internationalism. Finding his spiritual home in the Thule Society, Eckart, a dedicated Satanist, was a master of magic and practiced rituals that were anything but harmless. Eckart participated in a series of seances with Rosenberg and the infamous Russian occultist G.I. Gurdjieff. During these seances, Eckart was told of the imminent appearance of the German Messiah, a Lord Maitreya! Aha! Those of you idiots that thought the term Maitreya was something new that was brought about by that old idiot back in the 90s, you've been fooled, you've been hoodwinked, you've been bamboozled. Whew, let me reread that again, god damn me. Eckart participated in a series of seances with Rosenberg and the infamous Russian occultist G.I. Gurdjieff. During these seances, Eckart was told of the imminent appearance of the German Messiah, a Lord Maitreya. Eckart was further instructed about his own destiny. He was to prepare the vessel of the Antichrist, the man inspired by Lucifer to conquer the world and lead the Aryan race to glory. And there's another one coming. There's another one coming. Are you ready for another one? Are you ready for the next one? Ha ha ha! Eckart was a heavy drinker who used drugs, including peyote, I don't know, the South American hallucinogen, which Aleister Crowley introduced into Europe's artistic and occultic circles. So Aleister Crowley, on top of all the other things, he was also a drug dealer. Great. In his younger years in Berlin, Eckart spent time in a psychiatric clinic because of morphine addiction. This man was destined to become Hitler's mentor. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'll read a little more. There's so much of it. Thule, monarchists in search of a party and leader. As stated above, in early November 1918, the German Grand Orient communists, known as Spartacists, Adam Weishaupt's code name, took power in Munich. They ruled Bavaria from November to May, during which time there were a series of communist insurrections throughout Germany. Their largest uprising was scheduled for May 1st. And May 1st is a significant date in occult circles. Beware May 1st. May 1st, 1919, better known as May Day, the date Adam Weishaupt founded the Illuminati. But don't get fooled. They always existed. They always were around for a very long time. What Adam Weishaupt did was give it a name. Anticipating this event, the voluntary monarchistic troops called Freikorps, which unbeknownst to the general population were financed by the Thule Society, surrounded Munich. In retaliation, the Spartacists, who had in their possession the membership list of the Thule Society, which had been irresponsibly published by Sebortendorf, raided Thule headquarters and took 7 members hostage. When the Freikorps units tightened their ring around the city, the hostages were stood up against the wall in the courtyard of the Luitpold High School and shot. 4 of the 7 were titled aristocrats, including the beautiful young secretary of the society, Countess Hela von Westarp, and Prince Gustav von Thurnud Taxis, who was related to several European royal families. Sebortendorf, founder of the Thule Society, was blamed for the membership for his was blamed by the membership for his careless and, as it turned out, fatal publication of the society's membership list, which fell into the communist hands. From then on, Sebortendorf's influence in the Thule Society declined, and in 1923 he returned to Turkey. Meanwhile, Dietrich Eckart, the man destined to discover and groom Hitler, that's right, grooming is not new, it's been around for a while, became one of the most powerful members of the Thule Society's hierarchy. After the Freikorps troops liberated Munich from the communists, the Thule Society felt it was time to come out in the open as an anti-communist movement. Its own newspaper, Thule Collection, announced that the society was the financier behind the Freikorps. Publisher of Thule Collection was one Dietrich's, no first name available, a leading publisher of Masonic books and member of an English Grand Lodge. And this is the character, if you watch the film A Rise of Evil, that's supposed to show you how Hitler rose to power, okay? That's the guy who publishes Hitler's book in that movie. He's married to, in the film, he's married to, what's her name? Oh my God, what's her name? The chick from ER that had something going with George Clooney. I think her last name is Margot Lees, something like that. I could be wrong. But it's the brunette, that good-looking brunette that had something going with George Clooney in ER. She's in the movie. Watch the film, Hitler, Rise of Evil. Okay. Dietrichs also published Tat, the most important public newspaper in Weimar, Germany. Tat's editor was Hans Seeherer, also a prominent English Mason. Later, when Hitler declared the Third Reich would be established by his Nazi party, Seeherer wrote that the leadership of the Third Reich could be guaranteed only through elites and oligarchs. Within Seeherer's Masonic circle were many wealthy and influential oligarchs who favored a return to the Hohenzollern monarchy. Most belonged to the Thule Society. And I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave off there. Okay. So there you go. And as I told you in the last video, let's see if YouTube allows this to be on there. Good luck to me. All right, y'all. Let me get the outro music going. Oh, shit. Peace.